Hey kids, it's your mom. Today I wanted to make a video talking about my testimony and how I found God. If you hear background sounds, it's my two kittens. They're in the background. They're fighting with each other. They're play fighting and stuff. But yeah, I just wanted to share my testimony. And also if other people, they want to hear my testimony, I can send them this video so they could get the whole picture of how I didn't believe in God, to how I found this one video that kind of made me interested in God a little bit and made me go down a rabbit hole of God, to I gave my life to Christ and now I'm like a devout believer of God. I'm gonna start with the backstory because the contexts are very important as the story goes on and progresses. So I was born Catholic, I was baptized Catholic, my mom and dad were Catholic. And growing up, I remember my mom would make me do my Our Father before bed. We would pray before we ate, and also there was this kids Bible book I would read when I was just younger. Like my mom bought it for me to read when I was younger and stuff. And when I was 5 or 6 years old, we lived in Oregon because of my dad's job. It required us to be living in Oregon. And my mom and dad got married in a Christian church, and this Christian church that they got married in was a church I would go to every Sunday with my mom and dad. And I would go obviously to the youth group for the little kids and stuff. And I remember I thought it was a lot of fun, but I didn't really understand. I couldn't understand the concept of God at 5 and 6 years old. And when I was 6, my dad passed away coming home from work. He got in a car crash, he crashed into a tree. And I remember at the funeral thinking, if God is so good, why would he allow this to happen? I just had a lot of questions about God at 6 years old because I didn't understand why this God, who I told was so loving and so good, would let my father die when he was a good man and he didn't do anything wrong, you know? So it's the end of first grade when my mom moves us back to California, which is where we're originally from, and we move into this 2-story house. And second grade rolls around and I start getting really bullied by this one girl, and then a whole bunch of kids start bullying me because they see her bully me and then they're like, okay, it's okay to bully her. So a whole bunch of kids start bullying me. And also at this time, my mom gets with this man who is not very nice. She's not with him anymore, but this is her partner at the time. He was a not nice man and she gets with him. And I remember the day I saw him, I was like, I don't like this guy. I got vibes there's something wrong. But yeah, I forgive him for everything he's put me and my family through, because that's all in the past and it's all about forgiveness. Every day you gotta forgive the people who hurt you, until one day it's I really do forgive them and stuff. And so I was getting really bullied at school and at home because of this man. He was making our household in a way hell. It was horrible the way the dynamic of our family really shifted when he entered. And so because I was getting heavily bullied at school and heavily mistreated, I guess you could say, a little bit at home, I wanted to escape reality. And I was severely depressed at this time. I wanted to take my life all the time. I was constantly thinking about, oh, I'm gonna just take my life today, or I'm gonna run away. It was so bad when I was young, so bad. And the way for me to escape reality was to either sleep 12 to 16 hours every single day, on the summer or weekends, because I just wanted to sleep the days away. Or if it was a school week or days I had to be at school, I would just be in the library reading books. That was my thing, was to read books, because I wanted to escape reality. So the only way I could do that was to read books. My older brother did that by playing video games, but the way I did it was reading books. So I became a big book nerd. That's all I did. I didn't really have friends. I had a really hard time making friends and keeping them when I was younger, a really hard time. And even now, sometimes I challenge to do that, but I've gotten a lot better, obviously, and stuff. And now I actually have really Christ-centered friends. So those relationships are actually long-lasting, fulfilling, and bring joy into my life compared to the worldly relationships that I did try to have. So from first grade to 4th grade, I was at this one school, living in the 2-story house. And at the 2-story house, this is when paranormal stuff started to happen to me. My room, things would move constantly. My window would be closed and my door to my room would slam shut. And yes, when my window was open, my door would slam shut, but there was times where it would happen. And I remember this one time it slammed really hard shut. And my mom, she's like, Natalie, why'd you slam your door? And I look at her, I'm like, Mom, I'm not even by my door and stuff. And she's like, is your window open? Because she knew like if the window was open, my door would slam shut. So I go and I walk in my room and open the door and my window is completely closed. Yeah, it was completely closed. And then I also started around 3rd or 4th grade to start getting sleep paralysis. And if you don't know what sleep paralysis is, it's when you're awake, like you wake up, but you can't move your body. You're like stiff and you can't move and your eyes are closed. And I started to get sleep paralysis at that house. And then in 4th grade summer, going to 5th grade, I was a side maid. And if you don't know what side maids are, it's like a Portuguese, so there's Portuguese festas, and they're a very Catholic religious event, okay? Every Sunday you go to Catholic church, and it's like this really big parade and event. And I was a side maid, and my cousin was the queen and stuff. And I remember, to prepare for your week of getting crowned and blessed, oh, those cats are playing so much. In preparation for getting crowned and blessed, you have to do a week of rosary. So during that week of rosary, I remember thinking, this God that we're praying to, it's not real. Why are we praying to Jesus's mom? Like, why are we praying to Jesus' mom instead of God? And I remember like wanting it to end, like the rosary. I was like, oh, I can't wait until this ends because I don't believe in any of this. And it was kind of during the rosary week, like it was around that time in my life where like I completely did not believe in God. I was like, there's no such thing as God. And then I kind of started believing in the universe. I was like, this is the universe. This ain't no God, no being up there. Okay. So then 5th grade rolls around, and in 5th grade, I move into the house I'm living in now. This house that I'm living in now was my mom's childhood home when she was like 5 years old to adulthood. And actually my mom and my dad used to live here with my grandma and my grandpa because our garage, we converted it into an apartment. So me and my brother were born at this time, and my mom and my dad were in one room, and then me and my brother were in the other room, and like we had our own kitchen and stuff. So it was like, even though my mom lived with her mom, it was like she had her own apartment area. Okay, so we moved back to here, and I specifically remember that when I did have really bad sleep paralysis and we still lived in our 2-story house, every time I came to this house to sleep, because my grandma's like a devout Catholic, every time I came to this house to sleep, my sleep paralysis would be the worst it's ever been. It would be so bad every time I came to this house to sleep. And my other grandma on my dad's side, my nana, she's also very devout Catholic, and she would pray over me every time I went to her house to stay the night. She'd pray over me before bed. She'd do our prayers. Even though I didn't believe in God, she'd still do her prayers. And I remember she would pray over me, and I think, what the heck, like, is this lady doing? Like, I don't believe in these prayers. She's just rambling on. Like, I can't wait till she's done praying. And I would get really bad sleep paralysis over at her house too. So anyways, we moved into this house in 5th grade, going into 5th grade. And one of the reasons we actually moved was because I was getting severely bullied, but the other reason was because I think my mom just wanted a change of scenery. I'm not exactly sure like the other reasons why we moved, but one of the reasons I knew that we moved was because my mom was just sick of that schools. The way they handled my bullying was incredibly horrible. Like, it was not the best school. So we moved to this house and 5th grade starts, and I had a really hard time making friends. Like, people, like, I was a weird kid growing up. I don't think I'd even want to be my own friend growing up. I was like this really weird kid, and people didn't really like me, or they did, but I didn't like know how to really make friendships like last, because I never really had friends, you know, because I always secluded myself. So I was in the library constantly, and the bullying started up again, but new kids and were bullying me, obviously, because I'm at a new school. So the bullying started up again, and I just stayed in the library. My home life still was not the best. And at school, I just went to the library because I did not want to get bullied. I was tired of getting bullied in the classroom, so I was like, let me just read to get out of reality. So everyone knew me as the bookworm. I loved books. And 6th grade rolls around, and COVID is popping at this time. COVID is like, yeah, COVID was whatever. And it was at the end of 6th grade, like 2 months before 6th grade ended, and TikTok at the time was also really big. Like, everyone was on TikTok. And I remember when COVID happened, I was like, yes, I could read my books. Yes, I could be on TikTok. So that's what I did. I was on my phone every day for hours on TikTok, just scrolling and scrolling and scrolling. Now, when I was on TikTok, I, like, at that time, I was 6th grade, did not believe in God, did not believe in God at all. And I came across this witch talk video, and it was talking about like crystals and stuff. And something about me is growing up, when my nana was with her boyfriend at the time, they're not together anymore, but when she was with her boyfriend, who was my godfather, me and him would go to the river, we'd collect rocks, we'd go back to his house, and we'd smash the rocks open to look at the inside of the rocks, because I thought it was so beautiful. I was like, oh, I want to be those people who go into mines and mine for crystals or mine for rocks, because I thought they were so beautiful and stuff. So when I came across Witch Talk, which showed like all these pretty rocks, like the quartz and the crystals and stuff, I was like, oh, this is so cool, let me watch more videos on this. So I ended up diving really deep into Witch Talk, and eventually started off with the crystals, and then it went to tarot cards, spells, speaking of deities and stuff like that. So it just got deeper and deeper as I got into Witch Talk. So eventually, because of watching all these videos, I was like, you know what, I'm gonna become a witch, because during my childhood people would literally call me a witch. So I was like, you know what, I'm already getting called a witch, might as well become one, become what they're calling me. So I started doing witchcraft. I started putting spells on people. I started buying tarot cards, buying crystals, and all this stuff, because I wanted to be a witch so bad. And another thing about me is, growing up, I've always been so like intrigued by the dead. Even now, I'm still very intrigued by the dead, like what your body looks like when you die. Like, I even thought about being a mortician, because the dead like just don't scare me, because of my experiences I'm going to talk about, but also because my dad died, I saw his dead body, and it really intrigued me and stuff like that. So yeah, I used to watch like psychic medium videos. I used to watch like medium videos, like people who talk to the dead, right? I thought that was so cool. I was like, oh my gosh, I want to be like these people. I want to see the dead. I want to speak with the dead and all that stuff. I was so intrigued into all that. And also at the same time of that, I stumbled across like LGBTQ, because at the time like LGBTQ was poppin'. And in 6th grade, before like I saw all these TikTok videos about that, my friend, no hate, no shame, no nothing, but she had came out as lesbian, and she kind of opened the doorway into that type of world for me, because I wasn't sheltered per se, but I didn't really know what gay, lesbian, and all that stuff was. But because she would talk to me about it and like everyone knew, I kind of was like, wait, what is that? I want to learn more, because I'm a very curious person at heart. So like when I stumbled across those TikToks, I was like, oh, let me learn more about this. And then it kind of just made it into a big spiral to where I was like, started really heavily lusting over women. And I was like, you know what, my mom's partner right now, he is not a good guy. Why would I ever want to be with a guy and stuff? I would rather be with a woman. So that's when I turned bisexual. So anyways, we're in 6th grade summer at this time, and this is when I'm heavily into witchcraft, and I start to see dead people. I don't really, when I talk about them, I don't like to say dead people, I like to say demons, because I believe when you die, you either go to heaven or hell. And if you do see dead people on the earth and you talk to them like I would talk to them, it's actually like demons you're just communicating to. That's what I personally believe. You know, God, it works in mysterious ways. There could be a way that we could see our dead relatives and stuff. But personally, I'm like kind of iffy about that whole thing. I just really think it was demons I would see when I see dead people and stuff. So that's when I started seeing dead people, and that's when I started having demonic encounters and stuff, because I was, at this time, I was doing tarot cards, I was doing like a whole bunch of different witchcraft things to talk to the dead, but I was really just talking to demons and stuff. And there was this one night, I used to make ASMR videos, you guys, okay? I used to make ASMR videos for YouTube, and there was this one night I was making this ASMR video, and I started to see a lot of dead people, like a lot of them, walk past my room door and stuff, and I was getting really scared, because I was like, I know I wanted to see dead people, but this is kind of overwhelming me. So I will show you guys those clips right now. One of my videos. Oh my gosh, I'm so scared right now. Okay, so
I've seen someone walking in the house. I feel like when I turn my eye, I can see someone there. Oh my gosh. You guys probably so scared. Right now. I mean, I love the dead, like, with spirits and stuff like that because my dad's dead. Oh my gosh. I have like the weirdest brain, like I can see. I'm not saying I can see like ghosts whenever I want, but like sometimes I can see people, like dead people. Like I can see like an arm of them or like a leg of them, and it creeps me out so bad. Like if I'm sleeping, I can see someone move, and then I'll tell people, hey, did you see that? Or like my siblings will be like, I didn't see anything. I was like, there was someone right there. Oh my gosh. You have no idea. I feel like I can see the dead. When I was little, I really wanted to see the dead. Now it's like, oh, you have no idea what it's like. It creeps you out. I'm scared every night. My mom got this rule. Every time I turn, I feel like someone's face is right next to me. I don't know if I'm imagining or I'm actually seeing this stuff. It's so weird. I was like, you hear a baby laughing, you're like, oh, in the daytime, but at nighttime, you hear a baby laughing. Yeah, I swear, the craziest thing, I can see dead people, I feel like, sometimes, and it's crazy being me. And like, when I'm just like down, I can feel like it's like somebody's touching me, like sitting on my back. Like, I just felt like this cold, hard, like it felt like a hand was on my back. I don't know if it's like my dad or like a spirit or something bad. But like sometimes I feel like something's touching me and it's not. It's like the craziest thing. Even at night, like I'll go outside and take out the trash and I feel like someone's standing like next to me. I turn and there's nothing there except for a shadow.
As you guys can see, it's later in the day and I changed. But as you guys saw in that video, I was petrified. I was literally pretty scared. That day was when I started to like see like full figure ghosts around my house, where I actually started to see faces and not just like ligaments of dead people and stuff. And when I was talking about I think I've actually seen a demon. This was when I started to experiencing shadow people. So like when I was talking about, oh yeah, sometimes when I go outside to take out the trash at night, I feel like I see somebody, and then when I turn, it's just a shadow. There was these, I would call them shadow people. They were like mist, like black mist that would go in and out of forms and stuff, and they had white eyes and they had fangs and they had really long claws, like imagine a claw that's like that long on all their fingers and stuff. And the day that I saw the demon was a really traumatic experience for me. That's when I actually started to get scared of seeing dead people and stuff. That day I was going to my room and it was pitch black, and the only thing I could see was the fish tank because all the lights were off. And as I was about to take a step into my living room, this really tall, red glowing-ish form was right next to me. Like, it just appeared out of nowhere. And its skin was like, when I was walking, like, you know how you can see, like, I'm looking straight, but I can see my finger right here. It was like that. And I just see this big form appear right there, and it was like muscular and it was tall. I remember it was super big. It was like 7 feet tall. It had horns and like it had really big feet. I remember it had really big feet. And like I like saw the form, I immediately, my blood like ran cold. Like, you know how people say my blood ran cold? That's how I literally felt. Like my blood ran cold. Like I just felt evilness from whatever this being was. And like I kind of did like the slightest side glance, and immediately once I saw like that is so, like that's a being next to me, I sprinted to my brother's room and I was like, Joel, did you see that? Like, do you see that thing? And he was like, what are you talking about? There's nothing there and stuff. And I was petrified to go back to my room. And I remember when I went to my room that night, there was like 5 of these shadow things or shadow people or whatever, demons, that were surrounding my bed. And they were just watching me. And there was this one that like, because the way my bed was with the headboard I had, you could put like your hands around it. So one of them was just like this staring at me, right? And there was the other ones. And I remember I got into bed and I was petrified. I was looking at these things and I was like, oh my gosh, what the heck is this? And I closed my eyes, right? And every time I closed my eyes, it was like, I was like getting visions of like them doing like this to me, like with it, and they had like super sharp fangs. Like every time I closed my eyes, that's what I would see, right? So I had to keep my eyes open and just like stare at these things. And I remember I got sleep paralysis. Like I somehow, while I was awake, I started getting sleep paralysis to where I couldn't move my body. Like I was remember looking at them and I just tried moving and I couldn't move. And I was like, what the heck? And I remember I could turn my neck like this and look to the side because I didn't want to see them. And I remember one of them came up to me and it started just jabbing me, just poking me all over my body, and like it kept like grabbing my side really roughly. And one of the things like that would happen paranormal is like they would pull my hair up and then go like that and then just pull it. Like literally I'd be in bed and you could just see my hair drift up and then get pulled and tugged and stuff. So somehow I was able to fall asleep and stuff. I kind of just remember telling myself in my mind, this is not happening, this is not real. And I fell asleep. And I remember waking up and I had a whole bunch of bruises on the side of my body, like little like bruises like that big, like on my legs and on my side. And I remember thinking, maybe this is actually real, maybe that is actually happening. So this all happened before that video that I just showed you guys from 2020. And it just, after that video, it just kept happening, like demonic encounters. I didn't stop witchcraft. I went way more into it. I was in witchcraft until I found God, which was freshman year. So 2020, I started high school in 2022. So I did witchcraft for like 2 years. And I kept seeing these shadow people. They loved to play pranks on me. Like they would like to trip me and stuff. Or like they'd be around a corner. There was this one time, because my mom knew like I saw things. There was this one time where right here, there's a corner that leads to a hallway, right? And you could just stand there and scare people. And as I was going to the door, because my mom had groceries, as I was going to the door, it was behind the thing. And then as I got up, it went like this. Like it put its claws like around the frame and went like that to me and stuff. And because it was like a form, like I could walk through it in a way. So it went like that. And I screamed and I was like, what the? Because I used to cuss like a sailor back in the day. And my mom's like, Natalie, what's the problem? And I was like, this spirit just tried to scare me. And my mom knew like I saw things. She's like, Natalie, just tell it to go to the light and stuff. And I've had also like other experiences and stuff where like I've seen my dead dad walk around the house and stuff. And those experiences were really weird because I don't believe now as a Christian, I don't believe that you could really be on the earth when you die. I believe when you die, you either go to heaven or hell. But God works in mysterious ways. So I wouldn't put it past me that it could have actually been my dead dad. But at the same time, I'm like, no, I feel like he's in heaven. I feel like that was just a demon pretending to be him walking around my house. You know, like there's still a lot I don't know. You know, and I'm never going to know everything about God and stuff. One experience that I do want to talk about is there was this one time where I think I was in 8th grade. I think I was in 8th grade because my brother was in high school football and nobody was home and I was on the couch and sorry, I'm tired. And as I was on the couch, the little boy spirit, the one that I told you that I saw like in the video, the one that the mom was running after, it was that little boy. I saw him multiple times and I could hear him laughing and running in the hallway and stuff, and I didn't like think anything of it. I was just like, oh, like he's here or whatever. And I was on my phone. Like I was like, at this point I was so used to seeing dead people or seeing these shadow people all the time that I was like, it was like once this happens for like over a couple of months or a year, you kind of just get used to it. Like you stop kind of being afraid of it and it's more like I'm not scared anymore, I'm just used to it. So I hear him running. And then all over here, I hear a lot of shaking and then a boom in my kitchen. And I get up off the couch and I look in the kitchen because the couch is like right here and I'm like facing this way. And the kitchen's right here in my house. So I hear a shake and then boom, and I get up and I look in the kitchen and I'm like, what the heck? You know, I do some cussing instead. And there's cat food all over the kitchen floor because our fridge, at the back of the fridge, we had a cat food box. Okay, there's no way that cat food box would be on the end because I remember specifically seeing the cat food box at the end of the fridge when I was in the kitchen getting a snack before I went to the couch. So the cat food box somehow got from the back of the fridge to somehow across the kitchen floor. Somehow the lid came off of it while it's across the kitchen floor, and somehow there's cat food spread all over the kitchen floor. Like, not just one spot had cat food, all over the kitchen floor there's cat food, okay? And I was so mad. I was screaming. I didn't like feel the little boy spirit anymore, but I remember screaming and be like, why did you make this mess? Why do you like to torment me and make my life a living hell? Like, I remember screaming stuff like that. And like, there was this one time where I think it was like, I don't know how I feel about this experience, but I remember this happened when Encanto came out. I don't know exactly what date Encanto came out. I'm actually gonna put the date up here when the movie Encanto came out. This was like a week after the movie came out, and I was getting sleep paralysis, and my bed at the time was like, you could look straight into the house, like from my room, because I lived in the garage that turned into an apartment, right? And I didn't have a door for my bedroom because my brother had broken my door, and because we don't consider the garage a garage anymore, we just consider it an extension of the house. The garage door is taken off, okay? So I could see inside, and I remember I woke up and I was on my side like this, and I woke up and I couldn't move my eyes. I could only stare straight, and I couldn't move my body, and I had sleep paralysis. And straight in front of me, where the garage door used to be, was this little girl, and she had short wavy hair. She looked like my sister, but my sister looks like my father, okay? This girl looked like my sister, but like she looked like my mom version of my sister and stuff, and she was staring at me. She had a blue bow in her hair, she had a blue dress with like ruffles, and she had like a blue bow right here and stuff, and she was short, and she was just staring at me and stuff, and she, like, I really thought she looked familiar, and I didn't know why. And I was looking at her, and then boom, I fell back asleep like that. And I kind of felt like I was imagining it. I was like, what the heck? A little backstory. My mom had a miscarriage before she had my sister and stuff. So if in some way or realm this was God and I saw this girl and she's actually related to me, I think it could have been my mom's unborn child, which could have been a sister. But also at the same time, it could have been a demon presenting as if the dead child my mom never had, you know what I mean? But a couple days later, my sister came up to me. She's like, Natalie, I saw something. Because my sister, she kind of sees stuff too, like how I do, except she's like, not really, she doesn't really see anything, but like she also has like the same, I guess you could call them spiritual gifts. My sister has similar spiritual gifts to me, and she came up to me, she's like, Natalie, I just saw a little girl. And I was like, okay, explain her to me. And she explained her to the detail of the same girl I saw, and I was like, that is really weird, Alexis, that you saw that. So that's like another experience where I'm like, oh, that's kind of weird. Like, I've seen my dead grandma walk in these hallways too, like my dead great grandma, but I really do think it's demons presenting as if you're dead relatives, because I don't know, I never got like really, okay, I can't say I've never got really bad vibes, because when I first started seeing like full form ghosts, I was like terrified and stuff, but like the vibe wasn't like necessarily super negative, like pure evil. Like when I used to see the shadow figures, those were pure evil, and that like physical demon form, that was pure evil for me. But those ones, they like had a negative side to them, but like a negative vibe in a way, but it wasn't like pure evil vibe in a sense. I don't know, I kind of felt neutral about it. I really don't know how I feel about seeing all those dead people, but yeah, I remember I really wanted to be a psychic medium or a median, because I saw like these dead people and stuff. That was a crazy time of my life. Back to the story. Anyways, so a lot of supernatural stuff happened, and then freshman year, I still like on TikTok scrolling, still gay, still in witchcraft, all that stuff. And I remember in January or so, I stumbled across this TikTok video, and because I'm on gay TikTok at the time, okay, all my videos are about being gay. That was like my identity. I wanted to be literally transgender. Like, I was heavily considering transgender and stuff, being a boy. And I was kind of like almost straight lesbian at this time in my life. And I saw this video, and at the time it was like a TikTok trend where they weren't, history will say they're friends, but they were really lovers or whatever. And it was a photo of Jesus and his disciples, and one of the disciples was on his lap. And like, I remember looking at that video and being like, no, Jesus like was not gay. This is not what he stands for. Like, he was definitely not gay. Like, even though I don't believe in God and all this stuff, I know for a fact this historical figure was not gay. And I looked at the comments and stuff, and some were agreeing and some weren't. And then that kind of led me down a rabbit hole of like, oh, is Jesus gay? And then I was like scrolling through Christian TikToks. So because of that, I eventually got a couple Christian TikToks on my feed. So then I started to get interested a little bit in Christianity, but at the same time, I was like, there's no God. Like, there's no God. And at the same time, in my heart, I was like, I should more say my flesh was kind of like, I don't want there to be God, because if there's a God, that means I can't be my own God in my universe and stuff. Yeah, I was just like, I really don't want there to be God, because I like being the own God in my universe. I like doing manifesting. I like doing spells and stuff. And if there is a God, that means everything I'm doing is so wrong. And I really like just did not want there to be a God. And as January continues, I remember I started to get really over the shadow people. I was starting to get really annoyed with them, really over them, and sleep paralysis. It's kind of bad to say, but the main reason I turned to God was because I didn't like sleep paralysis anymore. After like a couple years of sleep paralysis, you kind of get over it. Like, every day you wake up with bruises on yourself, or your hair is getting pulled, or you want to wake up but you mentally, like, your body can't move and your mind is awake but you don't know how long you're awake. It's like you're in a coma. Sleep paralysis is like a coma, and I hated it. So I remember one day I got on my hands and knees and I was praying, or I tried praying to God, and I was like, God, I don't believe in you. I don't think you're real or anything, but if you are, I don't want sleep paralysis anymore. And I told him I was being real. I was like, I'm kind of starting to get scared of like all these shadow people and the encounters I'm having, which were demonic encounters I'm having with them. You know, I don't like it anymore, and I just want to get away from it. But like, in my flesh, I did not want to stop anything I was doing. I did not want to stop being gay. I did not want to get rid of my witch stuff. I did not want to stop tarot card reading. That was like one of the big things. I did not want to stop tarot card reading, because when I did tarot card reading, the stuff, like, my readings would actually become true, which was really interesting. Also, I guess I should mention, every time I did a tarot card reading about my future, I always got the tarot card that's like overflowing love, and I always thought it meant romantic love. But I think the tarot cards, like, even though I don't believe in tarot card reading because I think that's demonic and that's a doorway for demons to come in, I do think that love, or every time I did my future one, the love thing wasn't there because of a romantic relationship. It was always there because I was going to meet God's love in the future. I was going to meet God's love. And like, I did a tarot card reading one time on my mom, and the stuff that the tarot card reading was about actually happened. Like, there was a couple times when I did tarot card readings and it actually happened. So I'm not saying tarot card reading means you can see your future or whatnot, but for me it did. And sometimes I would have, like, I remember when I was in 4th grade, I had a dream, and the next day exactly what happened in the dream happened in real life, like word for word, action for action. And I remember, like, that was kind of weird. If you guys don't know, sometimes I get like prophetic dreams. I'm not really gonna talk on my prophetic dreams because that's a conversation for way in the future and stuff, but God has given me prophetic dreams, and then they kind of happen, or like what the dream was about kind of happens in real life, I guess I should say. But I don't really want to talk about that because I don't think that's related to our conversation right now. And also I don't really feel comfortable talking about it, because then I don't want other people being like, oh well, God, she has dreams and they come true. And then also I don't want people to be like, well, you shouldn't know the future, why would God tell you the future, or like stuff like that. So yeah, I still need to, like, I don't know, sometimes I feel like I should talk to a pastor about certain things, just to make sure like it's related to God in a way. I don't know exactly what I'm talking about right now, but anyways. So yeah, I prayed to God and I didn't want sleep paralysis, and I was like, God, if you're real, give me a sign. And I was the kind of person who's like, you need to see it to believe it type of person. And so one day I went to the dollar store, this is still in January, and I'm walking down the aisles and I noticed there's a Bible, and I didn't know they sold Bibles at the dollar store. So I picked one up. I'm like, is this from you, God? Like, I guess I'll pick this Bible up, because I was very intrigued by Christianity. I kept getting Christian videos, so I was like very intrigued by it, you know? So I pick up the Bible, and that day I start reading. I remember thinking, where am I going to read in the Bible? I was like, I really don't know. And then I was like, well, I should start from the beginning. You know, like every book I've ever read, you start at the beginning. So I started at the beginning in Genesis. And it's because, as you guys know, I'm such a big book lover. I couldn't put the book down because I just love reading. Like once I get into a good book, I cannot stop reading. So that's what happened with me. I could not put the Bible down. And as I'm reading, I'm like, this makes more sense. This makes more sense. And then over time, I'm like, maybe I should give this God guy like a little try, like give him a try. And on February 1st, I gave my life to God. It was on February 1st, 2022. I was freshman year. And I actually wrote a journal entry that I'm getting closer to God, and I don't see him as just the Lord, but I see him as my friend. That was the day I gave my life to Christ, was February 1st. And as time went on, I was in swim. Okay, February 1st, give my life to Christ and start believing in him. I start swimming. There's this guy on the swim team that I thought was so cute at the time. His name is Donnie. Me and Donnie are friends now. I do not like Donnie anymore. But at freshman year, I liked Donnie so much. I thought he was so cute, right? And we go to the swim event. And while we're waiting for our relay or something, I'm sitting next to my friend Fiji, and Donnie's right here. And I'm telling Fiji about how I'm like finding God and stuff and don't really believe, but like giving him a chance, right? And Donnie looks over and he's like, Natalie, I'm actually a Christian. Like, I could ask my mom and she could probably take you to church. I was like, what? And he's like, yeah, like, let me ask my mom and she could probably take you to church, like, and ask your mom. And I was like, this guy's cute. He wants me to go to church. I was like, okay, yeah, let me do it. Let me go to church with him. Because at the time, I had been going to a Catholic church because I live like 2-3 minute walk from a Catholic church. So I had been going to the Catholic church in the morning of Sundays to kind of be in God's presence, you know, like go to church. I wanted to start going to church. So February 1st, give my life to Christ, then I start going to church, and then Donnie invites me to go to Christian church. Surprisingly, my mom let me go to church with Donnie and stuff. So I started going to church with Donnie, and the only reason I kind of went to church in the first place was because I really liked him and stuff. But because I liked him, I wanted to be around his family more, and his family are devout believers. And being with his family, like, I really, really got to know the gospel more. We read the Bible all the time. Me and his mom, we were always talking about God. Like, me and his mom just had such good relationships about God. Me and Donnie did too, but like me and his mom, we really hit it off. We love talking about God. And because of his family, I really, really got deep into loving God. And I liked Donnie for like a little bit over a year, like a year and a half. So in that year and a half hanging out with him all the time, he was like my best friend. I really got into loving God. And sophomore year, my friend at the time, we're going to say Jay, he wanted to find God. You know, he liked God, he loved God, but he didn't really know God, and he wanted to know more about him. And at this time, like, I was a devout believer and stuff. And it was kind of funny because even though I was a sophomore, I remember that, this guy asked me, he's like, are you still gay? And I was like, yeah, and then he said, but you still like God? I was like, yeah, I still like God, but I'm still gay. Like, I don't care. Like, even though I had gotten rid of my swearing, like, once I truly gave my life to God, I stopped swearing, and I stopped doing witchcraft, tarot card. It took me a while to stop doing tarot cards and stuff, but I stopped that. It took me over a year and a half to stop being gay. Like, it took me a long time to stop like liking women lustfully, and it's because I didn't want to give up that desire to God. I didn't want to, because I was still holding on to it. And I feel like when you hold on to those desires you know are not good for you, sometimes God's not gonna break those desires from you until you actually give it to him. So me and this guy had this conversation, and he's like, that's weird. And I remember talking to my friend, I'm just gonna say Benny, because that's his nickname. I remember talking to Benny. We weren't really friends at the time, but we were in the same class sophomore year. And was it sophomore year or freshman year? No, it was freshman year. It was freshman year. And I remember telling him, like, Benny, like, I'm a Christian now. And he kind of, somehow we brought it up, like, are you still, like, gay? And I was like, yeah, I'm gay, but I'm a Christian. He's like, Natalie, you know, that kind of contradicts itself a little bit. And I was like, yeah, I know, but I don't care. So anyways, fast forward to Jay wants to do a Bible study, or to like learn more about the Bible. And I felt God telling me for that whole week, like when I was talking to Jay about God, to start a Bible study. So I was still in swim. Jay was in swim. Benny was in swim, and another friend of mine, I, was also in swim. So I asked all of them, hey, at lunch, do you want to go to the swim room and do a Bible study? And they're like, oh yeah, sure. So we all went to the swim room and we did a Bible study. And then the assistant teacher walks in. His name is Mr. A. I love Mr. A. He's the best. Mr. A walks in and he's like, oh, are you guys reading? Like, what are you guys reading? And I was like, oh, the Bible. And he's like, oh, what book in the Bible? So I tell him what book, and he's like, oh, can I join you? I was like, oh, sure. I was like, and I remember thinking, like, this guy wants to read the Bible with us. So we're all reading the Bible, and Mr. A was like asking us questions and stuff, and it was so fun. And he's like, oh, do you guys want to do this again? And I was like, yeah, of course, like, we plan to do this again. So that's kind of how my Bible study started. Mr. A helped me like start a Bible study. We would be in the swim classroom on Mondays and Wednesdays and do Bible studies. But then eventually our little group, our little club got to the point where there was a lot of kids, and the classroom was like bursting during lunch because all the swim and water polo kids were talking super loud. So like we were being loud and they were being loud, and it kind of contradicted each other. Or like we kind of like annoyed each other in a way. So we moved into another teacher's classroom and did our Bible study there. And then I remember one day I was talking to God, and I just all of a sudden like had no desire to be with women anymore. Like that desire to be with them vanished. And it was very weird because like I was so lustful for women and so wanting to be with women that it's kind of weird. Like that one day I just woke up and I was like, you know what? I'm not gay anymore. Like I don't have these feelings to be gay. I don't have the desire anymore to be with women and stuff. I just stopped, like my flesh in that way just disappeared. And I remember going up to my mom and I was like, Mom, you know, I'm not gay anymore. Like it took me like a year and a half to stop being gay, but I was like, yeah, I finally like am not like attracted to women in that way anymore. And my mom was like, oh, thank goodness you're not that way anymore, because she did not like that I was gay and stuff. Even though she took it surprisingly really well when I told her when I came out, she like was like so happy. She's like, I'm so glad you're done with that phase or whatnot. But yeah, so my Bible study continued to grow. Junior year, I'm gonna be a senior if you guys didn't know. Junior year happens around. Me and Mr. A are talking like, hey, let's bring the Bible study back up with the group. And originally the Bible study had like 10 kids, maybe 15 on a really good day, sophomore year. But this year, my Bible study went from like 10 to 15 kids to a packed classroom full of kids, like 30 to 35 kids, which is so surprising. Praise the Lord. But yeah, now we have a packed classroom for our Bible study, and I'm actually really excited for next year, because if God can double our numbers in 1 year, maybe next year we'll have 2 classrooms full of kids. Like you never know what God's gonna do. But yeah, that's kind of my story on how I found God. Like, yes, I'm still working on a lot of stuff with God, but it's just crazy. There's been so many things that have happened with God that like if someone came up to me and gave me all these points about how God is not real, I would tell him, hey, I'm sorry, I can't believe that, because I've literally heard God's voice in my head. That was a crazy experience where he gave me a dream about Revelation. Maybe one day I'll do a video about it, but there's been too many things where like when you truly know God, you know his voice. Like there's be times I'll talk to him and then he'll immediately say something where I know it's not my thoughts. Like I know for a fact I did not just say that. Or like there's times where my mind will go blank white and then I'll start speaking almost like I'm possessed, but I'm not, because like I feel like the Holy Spirit in me when this happens, and I'll start saying a Bible verse and I'm like, I never knew this was a Bible verse, and then I'm like, that was God. I've had a lot of like spiritual things happen with God, just like I've had a lot of spiritual things happen with demons and stuff. But yeah, that's pretty much all about my testimony that I can think of. Yeah. I just realized I probably should answer this question that you guys probably will have, and that question is, do you still see ghosts or dead people, and do you still see demons? No, I do not see ghosts anymore, and I don't see demons anymore. Even though I cannot see the demons, I can walk in a room and I could feel if there's a demonic presence in there. There's been times where after I've turned to Christ, I walked into my sister's room one time and I felt like my blood ran cold. I had the same feeling I felt when I saw that really big demon next to me, and I walked out because I was supposed to do her laundry. I walked out, I went to my mom and I said, Mom, there is something evil in my sister's room right now and I'm not gonna go in there to do laundry. And my mom was like, oh, okay, whatever. But yeah, I'm the type of person who, because I was in that environment for a couple years where I was constantly surrounded by demons and stuff, when you're around them for such a long time, you kind of like know what their presence is. Just like if you've been with God and you feel the Holy Spirit, you know when God is with you, you know it into your core. Like you just have the feeling. It's like how people are like, oh, the energy changes or the vibes are changed or whatever, stuff like that. It's kind of like that. There's been times where I'm reading my Bible and then I'm talking to God, and then all of a sudden I feel demons like they're in my room. Like they just appear in my room. I can't see them, but I could feel it. I know that feeling. There was this one time I was reading my Bible and I was talking to God, and I had just read in the Bible where it talks about Jesus' disciples go out because Jesus like, okay, now you're going to do miracles and stuff. And they go out and they come back and they're like, Jesus, we healed all these people. And guess what? The demons, they left. When we called on, like, I don't know if God's name or your name or whatever, they had to leave. Like these demons just had to leave. And Jesus was kind of giving them a lecture, like, don't be happy that they left because you called on my name or God's name or something, but be happy because you're like doing God's work or something like that. I forgot what the gist of the story was. And that's what I've read, right? And then right as I'm talking to God, I put the Bible down, I'm talking to God, and all of a sudden I feel 2 to 3 demons enter my room. I can't see them, but I feel them. And I knew exactly where they were in my room because even though I cannot feel them or cannot see them, I could feel exactly where they are. You know, it's like as if you're blind and you can't see it, but someone's in your room, but you know that they're in your room. Okay, I have like super good discernment. Like if someone's in my room and I walk in my room, I could just feel the energy shift. Like I don't know how to explain. It's like almost as if I could feel the spirits that are in my room. Like if my sister hides behind my door and like I genuinely don't know she's in here, there's been times where she'll hide behind my door. I'll walk in my room, I'll go to my mirror or like over there, I don't know she's in here, and then immediately I go, someone's in my room, who is it? And either it's my sister or it's a demonic presence. If it's my sister, she'll be like, oh, it's me. But if it's a demonic presence, then I kind of know because like it's a little different when it's a demonic presence, because when it's demonic presence, you can just feel the evil. But yeah, people are just really bad at being able to scare me because I feel their presence before they're even there, in a sense, if that makes sense. But anyways, yeah, so there's 2 or 3 demons in my room. And I'm on my bed and I'm looking in their direction, and I literally just get on my Bible. I'm like, you demons just came out the worst time. And I start speaking. I start not screaming, but I start getting loud and I start speaking the name of Jesus over them. And then I go in the Bible to that verse where Jesus was talking about like the demons have to leave like whenever you call on the name of God or whatever, something like that. Whatever the verse is, I'm gonna put it up on the screen so you guys know. But right as I said that verse, boom, they were gone. They flee. It's like they vanished. Like you could feel them vanish like that. And I've had many experiences where they come in my room and then I have to start speaking the name of Jesus to get them out. And I've done a lot of praying over my house and stuff. And I've actually asked my friend Kayleen to ask her pastor, because I don't go to a Christian church personally, and that's because of reasons I don't really want to talk about. It's not because I don't want to go to a Christian church. I would love to go to a Christian church every Sunday if I could, but I'm kind of not allowed to in my household. That's the whole family matter, personal stuff. Yeah, that's the whole family thing. But I would love to go to church every Sunday if I could, like a Christian church. But anyways, I asked my friend Kaylee to ask her pastor about it, because even though like it feels like every time I'm so on fire for God, like, and I'm spreading the gospel and I'm truly on fire, that's when they like to come into my room and try to attack me and stuff. Like I've literally had demons come and try to attack me. There was this one time I was sleeping in my bed and this demon came, and it was like a shadow person, but it was like its arm was all black, but its claws were like white in a way. And as I was sleeping, I also had sleep paralysis this night too, which was horrible. As I was sleeping, its arm wrapped around me like this, and it started suffocating me. Its arm was like this, but like it was like, and it was suffocating me, and I couldn't breathe. And I started calling out on the name of Jesus, and I was like, Jesus, 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 save me, Jesus, Jesus, Jesus. And as I was saying that, the arm got lighter and lighter until eventually I was able to grab it, pull it off, and then it vanished. But yeah, I've had some demonic encounters still, even though I'm a believer of God. And it's not because I'm partaking in witchcraft. I make sure that I only listen to Christian music. That way, what I'm listening to, I'm not letting any demonic doorways. When I wear, like, I try to wear Jesus shirts. I don't try to wear shirts with logos or anything like that. Not because logos can be demonic, but you never know what's the intent behind the brands and stuff, or what's the intent behind the music that you're listening to. Even books, I don't read certain books because that could be a way to let demonic encounters, like, you can open doors so many ways. And in the Bible it says we don't wrestle against flesh and blood, but spiritual principalities and princes of evil or darkness. I think it's something around the lines of that verse. And it's really true. Everything is spiritual. Every single thing is spiritual. Everything you do is spiritual. Everything you see, everything you hear, it is all spiritual. So yeah, I still don't know why these demons try to attack me every time I'm so on fire for God. I think it's because they know that I'm going to do something amazing in my life and they just want to alter that or stop it. Like I suffer with extremely bad depression at times when like I isolate myself from others, and even in general, like I have a very overthinking mind because of childhood trauma. Like I overthink a lot of stuff, and like God's helping me with all that trauma and helping me not to be such an overthinker and to be patient and to be peaceful and not to worry. I stress so much about worrying and fear for the future, and when I'm extremely depressed, I know it's a spiritual thing. Like I know, like even though it happens so many times, like when I get so depressed, I know it's like the enemy, because I like I said earlier, I know when it's God speaking in my mind, and I know it's me speaking in mine, but I also know when I'm getting lies. Like when I get super depressed, I could feel like someone speaking into my mind negative stuff. And there's been so many times where I have to capture that thought, hold it, and be like, this is a lie, and rebuke it in the name of Jesus. Like if sometimes even like I'll be doing a mundane task and I'll get a really inappropriate thought, and then I just have to go, I rebuke that in Jesus' name. I speak life over myself, and I am not going to speak that inappropriate stuff. I don't want to think that inappropriate stuff. I rebuke it in Jesus' name, because you are, as a believer, you are going to get constantly attacked, even if you're an unbeliever. But I feel like when you're truly a believer, you're going to get attacked so hard, because those demons and the evilness of this world does not want you to follow God. It wants you to get sad, because the enemy comes to kill, take, and destroy. The enemy really doesn't want you to be happy and stuff. And you know that when you're in God's presence, you are happy, you are joyful. Not all the time, you know, like when you come to him sad and depressed, or like sometimes you could get sad or angry about his will and stuff, but at the end of the day, like there's joy in God, there's peace in God, there's love in God, and the enemy really doesn't like that. And I don't know if this is like true or not, but this is what I like to tell myself, that the reason why the enemy loves to attack me and give me depressive thoughts and make like even though I do succumb to the depression at times, like the reason why I get it so bad is because I like to think it's because God has such a big calling on my life to spread the gospel, and he has such a big calling on me to share my testimony and just share him, that the enemy really doesn't want that. So they want to do everything in their power to stop me, to put a stop to me. They want me dead. And I have to remind myself that all the time. And there's a lot of times where even I'm telling my friend, this one time my friend was depressed, and I was like, the last time I was this severely depressed like you was because a couple days later I did such like amazing godly thing that ended up in such a good testimony. Like I told my friend, every time you get so down and so depressed, it's actually because the enemy is trying to stop you from the amazing thing God is about to do for your life. Every time it feels like you're in that trial and it's not going to get better and better, it's because you're right there at the edge, you're at the cusp of an amazing blessing or amazing testimony that's about to happen, and you just don't know it. You don't know it. That's why the enemy's trying to stop you, so they can prevent it from happening. Like, no, go away. We're doing all this so you don't do that amazing thing that's about to happen. And yeah, I'm just rambling on like extra 10 minutes, but yes, I don't see demons anymore, but I can feel them. I feel their presence, and I can walk in a room and know if there's demons like manifested there. It's crazy. It sounds crazy to me, but like I think that's just a spiritual gift I got now. So I don't know what to say. I don't know. Sometimes I get prophetic dreams. I guess one of my spiritual gifts is I have very good discernment in the spiritual realm. But yeah, I love you kids so much, and whoever's watching this video, I hope you guys liked my testimony. I hope it didn't freak you out, and I hope you guys kind of believe what I said, because sometimes I don't even believe that this stuff actually happened to me, but then I kind of have to remind myself, like, Natalie, this did happen to you. Like, this, even though this seems weird, because we live in the world, we're not used to like supernatural stuff. Like we see it in movies, but like nobody's like really like, yeah, this is actually like, we live in the supernatural, you know? So sometimes it's hard for me to believe that this stuff actually happened, but then I remind myself, Natalie, like this and this happened, and you physically saw this. Like, you're not crazy. You're really not crazy. But yeah, just thank you guys for listening. Like, I really appreciate you guys listening, even if you guys don't have anything to say. I hope I planted a seed, or something in your guys' life to try to follow God or get closer to him, because he is real. He is so real. He is so real. God is so real. God is so real, and the enemy is so real. And I feel like sometimes people give too much to the enemy. They give too much to the enemy, too much credit to the enemy, when at the end of the day, the Bible says it too. The enemy can only hurt us as much as we let him. But yeah, that's my words for today, and I'll see you guys next time, my kids. I love you so much. Bye.